Welcome to Breaking the Chain. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Cody.
And today we're just going to go over Cody's experience with Worlds and a lot of the in-person stuff that me and Saren didn't get to talk about last time. That, some meta discussion, and a little bit of a deeper dive on some of the spoilers.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say huge shout out just to Saren for filling in for my spot on the last week's episode. Actually, it's a little less than a week ago, but you guys did a really good job of doing the podcast right after Worlds, which was sick because I got to listen to it right after and hear the breakdown and everything, and it was a really fun episode to listen to. So, thank you both for doing the episode, but also thank you Saren for stepping in. That was really cool, and hopefully we get her back on for a future episode.
Yeah, she was so much fun to talk with. It was it was great.
Yeah, and as always, it's funny hearing you guys talk about me. I'm trying to remember exactly what some of the things you said was, but oh, it's about me saying closing the chain instead of breaking the chain.
Yeah, not that I don't make a big point of it, but after that conversation came up, I definitely remember this week in the armory, I made an even bigger point to whenever the chain's broken.
I gotta make sure. Oh my god. Sorry, the puppy is in a cone, and she's making a ton of noise back there. Yeah, no, I have to keep an eye on it. I have to catch myself if I ever say close the chain. I'm just so used to saying close the chain. It's a hard habit to break.
Yeah, I'm always breaking the chain. I know,
well, it's funny. Saren put it well too, which is that I whenever I played armory with Saren or Nora typically, I think Tanners will sometimes catch me too. Is if I ever say close the chain, they'll correct me, and then for the rest of the armory, I'm good. I'll say breaking the chain, but it's whatever they're not there that I don't I just don't catch myself. But anyway, onto the podcast. But yeah, last week's episode was really nice. I do want to go over a little bit more about the world's top 8 and the meta breakdown and stuff. You both did cover it, but I want to go into a little more detail. But first, I kind of want to just give my world's experience for my week in Flesh and Blood. Actually, before I just jump into this, how was your week in Flesh and Blood?
Oh, it was good. I played at one armory and went 2-1.
Nice.
I know Noah's going to be listening to this, but he's going to feel bad, and I hope he doesn't feel bad, but I played, I got 40-0'd by him on Gravy. It was the craziest game ever. So I was I get my starting hand. I'm oh, I'm winning this game. I have Batter to a Pulp, Pummel, Seismic Eruption. I'm I've won this game. I just have to pummel him next turn with Batter to a Pulp. It's going to have Dominate. This is great. Sets my arsenal, plays Seismic Eruption. I think I pitched the blue just to create an extra Seismic Surge. I had 4 Seismic Surge. I'm okay, pass turn. And then he plays Chum, and I'm oh, no, he knows, okay, that's pretty rough. And does his turn. My turn, I spend killing Chum. And then I don't know if it was then or the next turn, but he starts a turn cycle of 3 Conquerors in a row. The last one being a Prismatic Leyline. It for blue for 4 go again, into Conqueror for 9 go again, into an ally for 8.
Jeez.
So that was pretty brutal. Into a double Prismatic Leyline turn the turn after. And it was it was classic. Not a close game. And he wow, I think that's the craziest. And I don't want to feel bad because he definitely played it correctly. He read every scenario and was able to pivot correctly. He knows the hero very well. I'm oh my god, I think that's the worst. And I've made a lot of mistakes. I think that's the worst I've ever performed in.
So out of curiosity, on that first turn after he played Chum, did he activate Chum in response to the Seismic Surges?
Yeah, and this is kind of where I might have made a mistake, but I blocked with the gauntlets, but I think I had another attack, so I was willing to attack the Chum. But
the gauntlets that flip it up and give it +1, or
yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you knew about it.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm like, I'm okay with them activating it this turn, and I thought I would get it online a lot, and that's where I think I made the biggest mistake was
I
I thought I was
see.
gonna get it online and out a lot earlier, and then it ended up being like the third Conqueror, where
Yeah.
like coming in for 9, I had 2 no blocks. I was like, I literally can't block this if I don't
Oh, is
throw
it
everything in front of
like
it.
eruption and ley line or something?
No, it was both my gems
Oh, you have
and
two
oh no no
gems.
no. Yeah, yeah, grandeur and authority of Atoya.
Okay, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's like both the gems and like 2 other. I think one was a pummel too, like my second pummel. So it was like no
um,
block, 2 block, 3 block, and I'm like, oh, and this conqueror's coming in for you said 9.
yeah. Interesting.
The crown.
Do you have Anathos in the sideboard for Shum?
No, I do not. I did for a while,
Yeah,
but then the matchup started. One, it takes up a lot of sideboard space, but it's like the matchup started feeling a little bit more even, and yeah, it's.
yeah,
I think I've just relegated that matchup to be like who can do their crazy thing first. If
yeah.
I can destroy the compass, like I'm feeling pretty good. But as soon as like the gravy player like puts out chum and stops me from destroying compass, I'm not feeling very good.
Yep. Yeah, that'll do it. uh, well, anything else in your week in Flesh and Blood?
No, it was just a super small week. Like I played a
Okay.
little bit on Talishars, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I will dive into my hour-long discussion about my week.
Okay, here
um,
we go.
yeah. So I went to Worlds Philadelphia. I did not play in Worlds. A lot of people were confused about that. Actually, I appreciate the what's the word I'm looking for, the high expectations that people have for me to play in Worlds, but I did not qualify for it. Nor did I feel like spending $600+ on a PTI for it, and I'm glad I didn't. I wasn't really prepared enough. And but anyway, I got in around what it was my flight was Wednesday at 11 p.m. leaving Denver, and I got to Philadelphia at 5 a.m. Uh, Sorry, I need to let the dogs out really quick. I'll be. But
Okay.
I got to Philadelphia at like 5 a.m. and that was kind of rough. It was literally the only flight. So I have that Frontier Go Wild pass, which is effectively the standby pass, and uh, that was the only flight available. And there literally was not a flight available back. So I actually had to book a flight back separately. uh, by the way, for anybody considering the Go Wild Pass, I don't really recommend it. It's been fine. I spent I think 300 on it, and it's okay. I probably like made even on that in terms of how many flights I've used and gotten through it, but it is just so inconsistent, and it causes these problems of like I had no sleep that night. I cannot sleep on
Mm-mm.
planes, unlike some people, which I am very jealous of. So I get in at 5 a.m. I get to my hotel at 6 a.m. Thankfully, breakfast starts at 6 a.m. So I got to have breakfast before I went to bed. But I must have gotten like 3 or 4 hours of sleep that night. Um, and then went to the keynote. The keynote was sick. It was really fun to be there in person. A lot of fun announcements that they made. The compendium was really cool to see all the like, every time something came up on the screen that was like a cool hero that people liked, like there was cheering that happened. The some of the live streams did not do it justice. I haven't seen how the recording did of the keynote, if it captured like the audience cheers and whatnot, but I heard that the live streams did not capture that very well, but it was really cool to be there in person for the keynote.
I know
um
that like in the worlds, like when they had like the like commercial breaks, there was like just a camera that panned over the audience and
yeah,
like them cheering, and I like it cut out the cheering, but you could tell it was like going wild.
yeah, I saw that. The what is it called? Inner, almost like the break, the mid roll. Is it mid roll? Anyway,
I don't
um,
know what it's called, but
yeah, I don't know what it's called either.
yeah,
But
I definitely saw that. I'm like,
speaking
man,
of
I'm Missed out.
That reminds me, before I forget, there was a
Mm-hmm.
really cool top 8 cinematic thing they did. I don't know if you saw that, where they had it was almost like a it was like a wrestling style introduction of the players. It was super cool. There was some really cool cuts of like someone was like playing a card and they rotoscoped around the arm playing the card as a transition into the next scene. Really cool. I thought the production team did a fantastic job on Worlds this year. Um, but anyway, Keynote was really cool. Everyone was really hyped about it. It was funny though. Whenever Hollow was announced, uh, there was a lot of hype until the card was shown, and then people were like trying to read it and figure it out. Sharpen, pitch 3.
Three's a +1.
Yeah, which we'll get into later. I do want to talk about Hollow later. But yeah, Keynote was sick. Compendium of Rathe was definitely not what I was expecting. The fact that they went back to an expansion set is really cool. It's sad that we're missing out. I think it's what the next 2 sets are not draft. I think is what they said. So Compendium isn't a draft set, and I think there's one more.
I thought it was just this that wasn't draft. I might have misheard that though.
But I know that Pro Tour. Well, actually, don't. I guess maybe it is only this one. Maybe the next one is draftable. But I heard something about 2 sets in a row being, which maybe is Super Slam. I mean, Super Slam was a draft set though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard 2 sets
draftable.
But I think in terms of I think they pretty much. I think this is specifically the next 2 sets are not draftable, but then they're going to return to drafting after that. So I think the set after this one is also not draftable, which is unfortunate because I do really like the limited format in Flesh and Blood. In fact, I played some side events that were. I only played one side event actually, but on Friday, Saturday, Sunday they had a side event that was a sealed format with you got one of the diner promos heroes. So I played the Friday one and got my diner dash, which is sick, by the way. I really like it. But it was sealed high seas, and I actually liked that. With the new 8-pack 30 card min max format, I think that a lot of the sealed formats are actually pretty decent. There's still a lot of like, oh, you pulled good cards and you win because of it, but there's still a lot of play. I do like it a lot, but anyway,
I think that the sealed the last few sets I felt like a lot more fun. And I think honestly, ever since they went to 8-packs, you're gonna have the I pulled the juice. But ever since they went to 8-packs, I've always had a ton of fun playing sealed, especially if it's not like a super serious event. If I'm going to Worlds and I played sealed, I
yeah, no,
maybe not, but when it's something just going to locals and they're playing sealed, casual, it's this is so cool, this is so fun, I get to see big explosive things, my deck's also doing really fun things, and it's it is fun.
It was funny. I played it, and that sealed. I played against someone who was on Gravy, and they had basically just a Silver Age Gravy deck. It was so wild. They had 2 Swabbies, they had a Rigor Mortis, they had some Scar for Scars, they had a what is it? They had sick blues. They had a Portside Exchange and Murderous Rabble, and I think another really good blue. It was disgusting.
That sounds so gross.
Yeah, it was rough. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, so that was my late Friday. Friday just did because that was Worlds. Wasn't competing in it. I did the CC event. I went 3-1. I lost to a Mario and then beat everything else. I can't remember what everything else was, but I did lose to Mario barely in my CC set event, and then played that sealed. Kind of just chilled. Watched my teammates play. Which, by the way, shout out to two of my teammates that did pretty well at Worlds. Martin Hollick got, I believe, 19th, and then Matt Renz got 37th or 38th, somewhere around there. So they did really well. I believe Matt was on Acilio Viserai, and then Martin was on. He might have also been on Acilio. So there's Acilio Syndrus, and then Viserai as well. Yeah, so we had some people do really well. And then Saturday was the calling. I brought Viserai, and I was pretty happy with my pick. I was pretty happy with the deck. I do think that we could have had some slightly different sideboarding plans. But basically, round 1, I just lose to Kano. Well, it is what it is. I didn't have any aggression. I turned 0. I had a really bad hand, but I had Drawn to the Dark Dimension, so I played it just to try to find a better arsenal. And then I drew in Ninth Blade, and I was like, that's not a better arsenal. I was like, do I want Arsenal Rune Flash or Ninth Blade? These are both terrible. So obviously, Rune Flash goes in Arsenal instead of Ninth Blade, but still, it was just like some like rough early game happened that, and if you give Kano enough space early game, then it's just over. And then
Tome.
Yeah, exactly.
Like drawing so many cards.
Yeah, there's mostly that they play Spindle for usually 5 or 6, and he did it twice, and that's the problem is when they do it for 5 or 6, and you look at your hand, you have 1 blue in it. It's like, well, do I want to pay for the Spindle or do I want to have the blue for the Wildfire right next turn? And then you're just kind of forked. But anyway, that was just kind of how it is. You just mandatory loss to Kano, and then beat of Isramir. I lost to an Aurora, and I miscounted my damage on the final turn, so I went for the wrong play because of it. I literally missed 4. I didn't count the 4 physical damage I was doing, so I thought I wasn't stripping enough cards, so I went for a different play to try to play Succumb. But yeah, anyway, I made a mistake there, lost that one. But it's a stacked Florian. I knew when I sat down, I was like, I probably need to run AB1 into this. I looked at my sideboard guide, and it didn't have AB1 in there, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I should have AB1, but I don't want to troll by running AB1 and it not being correct. So I just followed the sideboard guide blindly, and sure enough, I should have run AB1. I would have won that game easily if I just ran AB1. And then I think I had maybe the most fun Flesh and Blood game I've ever played in the final round of day 1. We both knew that we couldn't make day 2 because it was only X2s and like a few X3s that made day 2. And so we were just having fun. I go for is a Vizramir. I go for my combo. I reveal 8 cards. I only hit 1 attack. And the moment that happened, he's like, "Oh man, you're so fucking dead." And then his turn, I was like, "Kill me as disrespectfully as possible." He's like, "Bet." So then, so he does the combo. Literally plays almost the exact same cards I do, except a little bit better. He actually hits the perfect split on attacks and non-attacks. And then he starts counting out his cards. He's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. just absolutely just owns me and like just like makes fun of me the whole time, and I was like, this is sick. And then after the game, he's like, by the way, I gotta be honest with you, now that the game's over, my chair was super wobbly, so before you got here, I switched it with yours, and then I realized my chair was wobbly, and I was like, no, I was like, Judge. It was such a fun game. But yeah, also it was nice just like that Elo isn't a thing anymore. So it's like, I don't care if I lose this game. Like, what does it matter? Like, I can't make day 2. It's not like Elo matters. Like, who cares? So it was a lot of fun.
Fun.
Yeah, and then
I love those kind of games where you're just like, fuck around.
Exactly.
And, like, just ends how it ends.
Yeah, and then for Sunday, I didn't get into the Battle Hardened. They actually had a last minute waitlist that you could that they had spots for, and I signed up for it, and it was like a random lottery, but I just didn't get it. So then Sunday I actually played a lot of Blood in the Clock Tower, which is a ton of fun, by the way. If anybody hasn't played it, highly recommend. It is a social deduction game similar to Mafia, Werewolf, and Town of Salem. But anyway, played that basically near the venue with a handful of people that schedule these Blood in the Clock Tower games at Flesh and Blood events. So that was a ton of fun. That was basically my Sunday. I was playing that. And then Sunday night at the Airbnb, I forgot to mention, for the housing situation, there were 16 of us in 2 Airbnbs that were right above and below each other. So like 2 8-person Airbnbs. So it was really fun to that we were all in the same area. We could just like filter into one or the other and just all hang out. So that was a blast. I had a ton of fun just playing, like hanging with the team, having fun, and just having like a group. What's the word I'm looking for? Group dynamic when it came to the events. But Sunday night we all played Kanoker, and if you haven't heard of it, it stands for Kano Poker. I think that what's his name? Brendan, forget his last name. He used to be
Brandon
one of the
Lee Mulligan, right?
No. It's he used to be one of the hosts for, or one of the co-hosts for Arsenal Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I believe he's the one that made it. But how it works is you have one Kano deck in the middle. It's shuffled. You deal 2 cards to everybody, and then you deal a 3rd card that's separate to everybody. And what that is the 2 cards that's dealt to you are 2 cards you get to opt from the top of the deck, and the 3rd card that's dealt to you is your arsenal. And then there's a round of betting, and then you do a flop of 3 cards. You get to see, and these cards are your hand. You're gonna have 4 cards that are in the middle. This is gonna be your hand. You do another round of betting, and then you get the 4th card. You do a final round of betting, and how it works is what you're betting is how much damage you can do with the cards that you have available to you. So it's the 4 cards in the middle is your hand. You have your arsenal. You have all the standard Kano equipment, and then you can opt. The 2 cards you are dealt are the 2 cards on top of the deck that you can opt to the bottom or however you want. And when you make a bet, like let's say you bet 35, you're betting you can do at least 35 damage. If someone calls you, then that's them saying, "Hey, I'm calling your bluff." It's almost like liar's dice. If you've ever played that, where you force them to prove that they have it. You force them to do it if you call.
Okay.
But if you raise, now you're the one that has to do the combo if everyone calls. So the last person to have raised is the person who has to prove that they can do that much damage. And it was a constant thing of people betting way too high, and we'd all just watch them like surely they're not gonna get it. And every time they didn't get it, there was like one time that someone actually was able to do the combo, but people just kept betting too high, being too confident. It was so funny too. Like there was some bluffing that was happening. Like I made a lot of plays where I was like, I'm gonna raise. I know I can't do this much damage, but I'm trying to get the other person to raise again to make the threshold higher. Because if they can do the amount of damage that they bet, then they get all the money. So it was just, I don't know, it was just a ton of fun. That was fun. The most fun of a game that I've had of like a side game, like almost like a party game. Really recommend it to anybody if you haven't played it before. But yeah, and that was Sunday night, and then flew back Monday morning. But overall, did not do well competitively in Flesh of Blood, but I had a ton of fun at Worlds this past weekend. It was a really sick time. With that, I want to talk about the Worlds meta and everything. I thought that was a super interesting Worlds. First, I think it's the first top level event that had 2 constructed formats. I could be wrong about that. I don't know about like early on.
The very first Worlds had Blitz and CC.
Okay. Well, wasn't it Blitz, Draft, and CC? Or was it only
Yeah,
Blitz?
well, yes. It was Blitz, Draft, and CC.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess the first one didn't have any limited format at all. But regardless...
no, they had Draft in the first one. Oh, no, not the...
I'm saying, yeah, not having limited.
This one, yeah.
They had just 2 constructed formats. I thought that was... I think it was actually really good. I do think that having limited as a part of Worlds would be nice. Or as a part of any... is it tier 4? I think it's tier 4 events. Is like calling plus, right? Or Pro Tour. I should say Pro Tour and Worlds are tier 4, right?
Yeah, those are
I do think that having limited as a part of the tier 4 event is good. I think it's a nice balance, having some constructed and some limited. But it wasn't bad to have 2 constructed formats. I think it was actually pretty good. It was an interesting experiment.
I mean, they did it again with the next Pro Tour.
Right, yeah, because next Pro Tour is Silver Age in CC, which I'm actually pretty excited for. I didn't qualify for it, but I'm really excited to see how it pans out. But
now you just have to go out and win all your callings.
Right? I could try.
I
still feel great about DO and CC. But anyway, I heard this on the Runaways podcast, and I thought it was a really interesting note about how the meta for the Worlds panned out, which is that because the LL portion happened second on day 1, whenever you played LL, you played a subset of LL decks, right? It's not like a calling where you can play against any LL decks. You only played against LL decks that went 5-0 or 4-1 or whatever, which led to something interesting. And I didn't verify this, but Cody Williams said that there was only one Viserai near the top tables or near that like top bracket in the LL for the LL decks that people brought. So it's just that everybody that brought Viserai just happened to not do well in CC. So they didn't even get to play in the LL portion at that top bracket of the players. And so that was one of the so a couple things. First of all, for the World's Breakdown, I don't know if you and Saren went over it on last week's episode or not.
Oh yeah, we didn't go through the full breakdown. We just talked about the top 8.
Let me see. I want to see the LL metagame. I don't think it was posted here, but basically the gist of it is that Starvo was the most brought, which I was surprised by. I thought it was gonna be Viserai most brought, and then it was Viserai, I believe. It was Starvo, and then Viserai, and then Marlin, and then Dio, and then Chain. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong about that. Hold on. I can have this up in just a second. No, I cannot. It's not there. Anyway,
I'm trying to see if I can find anything real quick, but
yeah, I'm having trouble finding it. I should have had that ready. But anyway, yeah, I remember it being Starvo first. I'm pretty sure it was Viserai, Marlin, Dio. I was surprised Starvo was first. I thought Starvo was going to be second to Viserai. But what we ended up finding out was that these Starvo decks were just super teched for whatever matchup they wanted to beat effectively. We were not quite prepared for Starvo to have the frozen to death exposed combo for the Viserai matchup. And that made it a much different experience because we were just like, oh yeah, just stack. Just keep stacking until you get to like 20 some odd rune chance, and then you pop off and you kill them. If you don't kill them that turn, you're just gonna have these good mid range turns later on that are gonna leak damage and kill them. And that was the game plan. And it was like the only way Starvo was winning there is if they just had a ton of fuses early and just were hitting you and disrupting you and actually throwing like leaking damage all the time. And then we even had Base of the Mountain to play against. I can't remember what the card is, but there's parts of Starvo that ran Goliath Gauntlets, and there was a Crush card that says it's like, I think it's actually on hit. It's an on hit card that if it hits, destroy all your opponent's auras. And so we even had
tower card.
Yeah, the tower card. And so if Starvo Fuse plus Goliath Gauntlets puts it at exactly 13 for the tower effect. So we had Base of the Mountain to counter that too. And so we were fine into everything, except we didn't play against anybody.
Reality.
Was it?
Smack of Reality.
Smack of Reality, yes.
It's 13 or more power, gain on hit, destroy all tokens they control.
Yeah. So that would lose you the game if you like stacked a 15 rune chance and they throw that at you and you can't block it. So we even had Base of the Mountain for that, but we didn't prepare for exposed frozen to death. And the problem was, even if we did prepare for it, you're kind of flipping a coin in a sense, because you don't know that they're on that combo until you see the first one. You just don't know if they have that or not. And if they do have it, you have to change your game plan entirely. You can't stack up to 20 rune chance and pop off. You have to just go off when you can before they destroy your Skeleton. And so it changes the dynamic of the game a lot. And so I think we missed the mark on some preparation for LL. Speaking of that, the LL Dio deck, I was very close to bringing at one point. I was practicing pretty much the exact same deck that Michael Jasker won with, except I didn't have quite as much tech in there. I think I had 1 or 2 stasis cells instead of 3. I didn't have the 10-foot talls in that list, which weren't run into Starva, by the way. I think the casters thought
I did not know there was 10-foot tall in there.
Yeah, we were on it for Invisarai for the Marlin matchup, and it was actually pretty good into Marlin. But yeah, I was practicing Dio, and I was struggling into Starvo, and I was just losing to Warmongers. But turns out that it's actually just fine. The Starvo matchup is great as long as you just don't play the way that I was approaching the matchup. I actually, right before this podcast, I watched the top 4 game that Michael played against what's his name? Jacob something. But anyway, I watched that game and I saw how he played it and I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. Like literally the Starvo was throwing, like I think he fused 3 or 4 times in a row early game, and one of those cards was a Oakenold, and Michael still won that game. And with the way that he played it, it makes sense. Like he was just like, oh, I'm just gonna play these setup cards. I'm not gonna play the cerebellums that are ticking down, and if I lose one, I lose the game. He was like sparking. He just like to spark for an optical monocle first and stuff like that. And just the way that he played it, it made a lot of sense once I saw it, and I wasn't seeing those lines during preparation. And so once, if I had practiced it a little bit more and saw those lines and saw that we were beating Starvo, then I would have definitely brought Dio instead of Viserai. And apparently, the top Dio players at Worlds, that being Michael Jasker, Brody Spurlock, and let's see, and Thomas Bailey Galbraith. Anyway, they went 8-0 into Starvo. So
wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
a matchup
crazy.
that was previously thought to be almost unwinnable for combo Dio. These Dios went 8-0 into it. So I missed something there in preparation, which is kind of sad because I would have much preferred to play -IO in LL, and might have done better too if I had played it. But I still think Viserai was a great pick. I think Viserai was a good deck, and like I said, because of the way that Worlds worked, there just weren't that many Viserais that were in the top tables. That's just the way that this tournament was structured allowed for this weird dynamic of what LL decks. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like an evolution thing, right? Where certain traits, even if they're not the best, they still are the dominant ones. Anyway, but basically the fact that there were 4 chains that made top 8 is insane. Absolutely insane.
Crazy.
They were not even anything special. Like some of them had pummels in it, which cool. You'll catch people off guard, I guess. But like the chain decks weren't anything especially great. They were just
it was just that the chain.
Yeah, it was that the chain deck is so slow, and so it was losing to Dios, but it beats the Starvos, and I think it can also beat the Zens and the News and whatever that people were bringing. So they kept getting some favorable matchups with what they were running into, which is why they did well. It was kind of like a weird feedback loop of what made top 8 because of what made top 8. But anyway, so the LL meta was skewed, is what I'm trying to get at, and I don't think that that 4 chains should have made top 8. I think that was a little bit of a bad representation of the LL meta.
It was wild when I was looking at top 8s. I'm like, 4 chains? I thought he was dead. Like, wasn't everyone telling me he was dead last week?
Yeah, because the thing is that he's not a bad deck. He's just not the best deck by any means. But one thing I will say is that I was surprised by just how hard teched some of these decks were for certain matchups. Like, I think every chain had 3 chains of eminence in it for the Marlin and Dio matchups. And there were so the Dio lists had 3 stasis cells. There were some lists with like 3 chains of eminence. There were just a lot of really high density tech cards in these LL lists just to try to like absolutely just hone in on certain matchups and get those matchups, which was an interesting strategy.
Chains of eminence, and I was absolutely mind blown. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. I thought it was really interesting to see what the top players in the world did with their decks and how they approach the tournament. But I do want to put out there, that Dio deck should not have won Worlds. Not that it wasn't a good deck, but if you watch I think that it benefited from people not quite understanding the Dio matchup, and how it works, because it's so that deck is so fragile. You need to have you for the combo turn. You effectively have to get all 3 cerebellums out and keep him out so that you can system reset for X equals 3. You can win with only 2. It's possible. It's just much tougher. And if you don't end up killing, you're just fatigued. Like you can't get there after that. So with that being said, there was a top 8 game that Michael played into Florin Christian Logan. I'm going to mess up that name. Who was on Pummel Chain. There was a turn where Florin had a hand that could play Widespread Destruction from hand. He also had a red pummel, and he had Chains of Eminence in his Banish Zone. And he goes activate Chain, play Widespread Destruction, and he has pummel in hand and the resources to play pummel. Actually, in fact, he cracked his Skeleton so that he could go for this line of play Widespread. He had a Rin chance, so he only had to pitch one blue, and then that allowed him to both play pummel and creepers out Chains of Eminence from the Banish Zone. And Michael Jasker had a Cerebellum with one counter, so the Cerebellum would have ticked down to 0 on his turn, and on the following turn, unless he has Fast and Furious on top of the deck, which I believe all 3 Fast and Furiouses were gone, then that Cerebellum goes away for the combo turn. Now, instead of pummeling the Widespread Destruction, which would have taken 2 cards out of the Dio's hand, he decides to play, I think it's like Phantom Wraith is what it's called, another Runegate card from Banish, and then Chains of Eminence, thinking that was enough to take 1 card in Chains. And it wasn't. He just didn't have to do that. He just had to pummel, and then he wins the game. But he just, at the last minute, just decides, no, I'm going to throw him a little more damage, which isn't lethal, by the way. He threw damage that wasn't lethal. And and so Michael puts some equipment in front. Yeah, just put some equipment in front and then kills him. So should have lost right then and there. But Florin missed that he had to. Basically, people didn't. I think some people just didn't realize that the combo is so fragile that if he had pummeled there and taken 2 cards in the hand and played Chains of Eminence, and then the Cerebellum dies, that it's just game over for the Dio. And then the Starvo in quarters plays out a Channel Lake Frigid too early. And so what ends up happening is that the Dio just blocks out or does like very middling setup turns. And on the final turn, the Starvo just doesn't have any disruption. They literally just throw Autumn's Touch for 7. And then Dio just like snap no blocks and kills him. Because he just didn't have disruption. So it was again like another spot of like you just have to, if you understand the Dio matchup, you can disrupt it in the right way to cause them to fizzle and to cause them to effectively not be able to combo you. And I think that the Dio deck benefited from people not knowing how to play into it. And in my testing, people knew how to play into Dio. And so that's why I ended up not playing it. I was just getting dumpstered. Because if the disruption happens at the right time, you're just fucked. Like you don't have it, right? But I will say that the Starvo matchup was definitely much better than my testing led me to believe. And so I should have brought Dio. I think Dio was a great pick. Viserai was still fine. Viserai was good. I think Dio was maybe just a slightly better pick. But anyway, I'm yapping too much.
It's crazy to watch like the meta breakdown afterwards because like I did not expect the LL to be like so chain heavy and then like oh, there's Marlin, there's Dio, there's Starvo, there's Viserai, like 4 separate heroes. Like honestly, I didn't think the bans would affect it that much, and as much as it did. I was very surprised that like them just shooting like throwing bans out and one of them's gonna work. I'm happy it did, but like
I mean, all the bans did though is allow Marlin to come out because Chain became less dominant, and Marlin has a kind of bad Chain matchup. And so that's all it did was Marlin came up. There really wasn't anything else. I guess Drumeye had a little bit of a bump because of Rosetta Thorn ban. But we didn't see any Drumeyes top 8. So
there were a couple that were close. There was I think 2 within like top 16 or 32. If they like won one more game, they would have been there. But
yeah, we had some we had 2 people on our team that were Drumeye Copers and brought it. And actually one of them made day 2 of the calling. But it's just they made like the Viserai matchups is so bad. You can win it. It's not that bad, but it's not great. But anyway,
also seeing Zen do pretty okay was cool.
Yeah, Zen was just a solid pick is really what it was. Had some good matchups. Was losing to Starvo effectively, but could beat everything else. Oh yeah, our top 8 predictions. We were kind of off.
Yeah.
My one Dio was in LL instead of CC, like I predicted. I think the LL, honestly, the LL was pretty hard. Was much more difficult to predict because of that dynamic that I mentioned. But CC, if I remember correctly, CC was only one Syndra and then 3 Verdants.
Oh yeah, and I have it in the notes of the last episode. It was 1 Syndra, 3 Verdants, 2 Gravy, and a Prism. And a KO.
Prism KO, yeah. Which honestly isn't that far off because we predicted, top 3 decks. I think we even maybe had a Prism in a prediction. So that was cool. But the LL was impossible to predict.
I don't think anyone would have guessed 4 chains in
Nobody
the
would guess 4
entire
chains.
community. Like, no one would have.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a cool tournament. I'm gonna say I'm glad that we're not gonna play LL again. But I really don't think it was that bad. I thought it was actually pretty decent.
I think from like watching it too, I was super surprised with how like cool it looked. Like there was some like really cool lines that I wish we could have in like modern Fab, where it's like combo off to do some like really weird thing, but it only works because I did this. Like there was an Aurora chain game where the Aurora comboed off, dealt a bunch of arcane damage, and did that majestic vaporize shock, which destroys auras equal to how much arcane damage you've dealt.
Goodbye, shackles.
Which destroyed all the soul shackles. Like that was super duper cool. And like there was a lot of LL games like that where it's like, oh, this very unique thing, or like Change the Eminence coming out, or like all those like very unique cards that have been theoretically like cool, and like it's cool to actually see them played. While in CC, it's just harder to reach those kind of
exactly
or reach to those kind of cards.
I will say though, it's a very different game. And what I mean by that is that your micro decisions don't matter nearly as much as just like macro game plan. And we saw that a lot with the way that these lists were built and the way that they were teched for different matchups, was that you basically just had to have a solid macro game plan. I think Starvo is maybe the outlier here. Starvo is a much more like back and forth type of deck. But the other decks were just, I have a combo, I'm gonna do it. I have this strategy into this deck, and that's it. Like there wasn't a lot of small decisions that you made on each turn. It was mostly like, I'm going for this big plan into this deck because it works. And do I get it or do I not get it? Like Zen, do I get to transcend? And then if I transcend, I'm doing this play with my chess piece, and that's how I win the game. And just like, do I draw the cards? Yay, nay. So a very different game. I don't think it was terrible. I think it was really cool from a competitive perspective. But that was why I was advocating for a much later ban list, because I think that the format is just such a different way that the game is played that it doesn't necessarily matter if you make these tweaks or not. There's still going to be some top decks, and there's still going to be some randomness that happens, and it's like it's whoever can figure out the macro game plan that really gets there. And the Dio that figured out the Starvo game plan got there, which was really cool. Actually, really cool to see.
It is like an interesting analysis that you brought up, was like the micro decision versus the like macro decision of like your deck building and your game plan versus like every turn value. Because it definitely feels like in CC, like you lose 1 damage 1 turn and you'll lose the game because of it.
Yeah, and you'll see that if you've watched some of the Dio games where some blocks didn't happen and some value was lost. Like he took some extra damage, but it just doesn't matter. LL, it doesn't matter if you lose a couple points here and there. It's really whether or not you have the overall game plan correct that actually matters. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the top 8. Yeah, and then I want to talk about some spoilers unless you have anything else to talk about Worlds.
Not necessarily. No, I'm ready to jump into some spoilers.
Yeah, so I don't want to go over all of these. These were announced during the keynote, effectively, but I want to go over some of the individual ones that were some highlights. I guess I'll start with Hala first, the new warrior hero that is in the Armory deck Origins. Hala, Blade Saint of the Vow. 4 intellect, 40 health with an action, pitch 3, tap hero, sharpen target sword you control, go again. Where sharpen is put a +1 counter on it, remove all +1 counters from it at the end of the turn. When I first saw this hero, I thought it was going to be a light warrior hero. And then I found out later.
I honestly thought it was a light warrior hero for
look at that art.
First 3 days. I didn't even realize that it was just straight warrior.
I need to get this set up so I can put it up on the podcast.
I don't see it on February.
Oh, is it not on February? No, it's on February.
Oh, nope, it is. It's just not in any of the spoiler sections.
Yeah, like look at this hero. Like it is a light hero. It just doesn't say light. So because it's hard to see the details in the keynote. So when they first announced it, I was like, oh, that's cool, a new light hero. And then I saw the card later in the spoilers channel, and I was like, wait, it just says warrior hero. That's funky.
Yeah, it looks so light.
Yeah.
Nope. The other thing is I'm looking at its mentor card and like the card, or the hero card, because I pulled it up. It literally is just the perspectives changed. It looks the exact same, but one you're looking at Holla's right side, the other you're looking at her left side, and then the background's different. But that's consistency.
Yeah. So I want
left-handed.
She is left-handed. That's kind of cool. But yeah, so we don't really have. I'm trying to look at this. Okay, never mind. I was like, look at different sword options that we have, but I'm not seeing like what weapon you would run with her currently that gets a huge benefit.
I'm assuming that she's gonna get her own weapon.
That's my thought.
Kind of with how the like Origin deck Jarl was, where Jarl got his own weapon.
True.
I think she's gonna get her own weapon. I'm sure it's gonna be the sword that she's holding in both pictures.
Yeah, we'll see if it's, first of all, if it's one-handed or two-handed. And then second, we'll see how much it synergizes with the +1 counters. Because the thought is that in order for this hero ability to matter a ton, is if you get an extra value off of that +1 counter. And that could be go again, because they usually value go again at one value, or if it's some other like on hit effect or something. But I heard someone talk about this in a way that made a lot of sense, which is that you just get to convert your blues into value. If you have an extra blue, it's going to get value out of it. Especially if you attack with these weapons multiple times a turn. Like if you get 2 value out of swinging a weapon twice because it has a +1 counter. Like just getting to convert your blues for at least 2 value, which is what I think it'll end up being, is not bad. It's not bad for a warrior hero. Also, if your weapon is like, if this has a +1 counter, it gets go again. All your blues now give your weapon go again. That's a pretty big deal. So it'll really depend on what weapon we get, but I thought it's an interesting hero. We'll see if it breaks the warrior curse of just being bad.
Yeah, I'm interested. I definitely had some crazy crackpot theories last week. Like, I don't know if you heard some of them.
I don't remember exactly what they were.
Was like one of my, I think the biggest one was like she has a card that skips end step triggers, so it like removing the +1 counters.
Yeah.
So you do some like crazy combo turns where you go like Oath of Steel, activate her ability, give a bunch of +1 counters, give it go again, and then like skip the end step next turn, do like a crazy damage turn because you have like 3 +1 counters.
Speaking of, that was another reason I thought that it was interesting that it wasn't a light hero, was because you can't run. Oh, what's the card called? I'm trying to look it up really quick. There's a light card.
I know what you're talking about.
Glisten. You can't run Glisten.
Yeah.
Because it's a light instant that puts +1 counters on your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Instant that plays cost 2, distribute up to 4 +1 counters among any number of weapons you control.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your end phase, remove all +1 counters from weapons you control.
So what's interesting though is that this Armory deck could make another build for Bolton, depending on what the weapon is and how it synergizes with Bolton's cards. I'd be surprised if it's anything stronger than Bolton's current game plan, but there is a chance that we effectively get a Bolton deck out of this as well. But But anyway, that's all I really want to say about Hala, because it was already talked about a little bit. The next spoiler I want to talk about was Savage Claw. Actually, let me pull this up for the stream.
Savage Claw, the best guardian weapon to have ever come out. It's more consistent. It costs 1 less. It still attacks for 4. Still one-handed. Wait a second.
It's a one-handed weapon that you pay 2, you tap it. It gets +1 if a card with 6 or more power was pitched to attack with this. Now this is important for a couple reasons. For one, it doesn't have go again inherently, like Mandible Claw does.
Yeah, I mean.
2, you have to pitch the attack to attack with it. So if you Tough Nut and get resources and then swing, it'll attack for 3, even if there's a 6 power in the pitch zone. It basically has Winner's Well text on it. 3, which isn't on the card, this is KO or Cheeto's signature weapon. Why is this the new KO's signature weapon? You don't really play that many 6 power attacks in KO.
It's really funny because like this is better in the regular KO and Mandible Claw. Like like Mandible Claw is just good. It fits in all the brutes. But Mandible Claw makes more sense in RKO with like the discard a card, choose a card from your deck. That like it's really funny because like I was joking saying like this is the best guardian weapon ever printed, but it's like not that good a brute weapon. Like it's really interesting how like something that would be amazing in one class is really bad into another.
Yeah,
it's not really bad, but it's like playable. But
it is interesting though because I heard that Reinar might like this. You can kind of have instead of running Romping Club, you can kind of run like Mandible Claw plus this and have a pseudo Romping Club build where you get to have more damage on your Blood Rush Bellow turns while also having your just like 1 card 4 that you just swing. But I don't know. I think usually on your Blood Rush turns you want to chain end with like a big attack instead of your claw because it doesn't have go again. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but it's fine. It's not bad by any means. It's fine. So I want to bring that up, and then I think that was pretty much. Oh, the talented cards. I almost forgot. There's some good stuff in here. First, Frosthaven Sheath. Frosthaven Sheath, which is the elemental defense reaction that blocks for 5 and costs 1 in red. And it has Ice Bond. If an ice card was pitched to play this, create a Frostbite token under the attacking hero's control. This would be really good for Icelander in Silver Age if she had Waning Moon. It would be disgusting.
It would be broken if she had Waning Moon.
It would be broken.
What?
Because you do like 0 cost from Arsenal, you Waning Moon for 2, and then you get to play this as well with the floating resource.
And you give a Frostbite.
And you give a Frostbite, yeah. Yeah, I think there's still a way that she can play it. This is also not bad for the other ice heroes, right? You still wouldn't mind playing this in maybe Jarl or Oldhim or anything like that. I guess you can't play Jarl on stage.
Can like ice react and then block 5 and then give up Frostbite.
Yep.
He says your turn is over.
Yep. Actually, I will say, Ice Bond says if an ice card was pitched to play this. How does Oldhim read?
Oh, you're right. So you can't, because I know Oldham's hero ability is if an ice card.
It costs 3 as well for the defense reaction for Oldhim.
Does it? Well, that shows you how much Oldhim I've played.
But I do still think that this card is very strong. I'm excited to see how people take advantage of it.
And I mean, a 1-for-5 D-React in Silver Age is still very good. It's something we don't have a lot of.
And then Grimoire, Felling Song, the Runeblade equipment offhand that just says instant, pay 1, destroy this, create a rune chain token. Disgusting for Vincent, by the way. Absolutely disgusting. We were running before, what's that that card that makes an Eloquence token, just because we didn't have anything better to run there. Like we sometimes ran the shield that blocked one instead because it was better.
Yeah.
But having a rune chant on demand is insane for Vincent. It just fixes so many turns.
Good.
So good.
It's it was funny because like I was actually showing Beth this yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, look at some of these spoilers. I'm like, look at this Grimoire, and she's like, oh, like what's it used for? I'm like, well, Vincent. She's like, no, Vincent.
Yeah. It is a majestic, so you can't run it in
like
Silver Age, but what was it?
True. I was gonna say apparently Beth does not like Vincent
No.
because of this disruption. So that's funny.
And then we got Synapse Spark Cap, a Mechanologist equipment base head. Action, tap this, banish an Evo from your hand, create a Ponder token with Battle Worn 1. Disgusting for Teklo. Absolutely disgusting for Teklo.
Really good.
Yeah.
So really good.
It has Battle Worn 1, so you just get to block 1 with it. On a base, is a base head too, by the way. And then you get to do a lot of your setup with this, because some of the hardest parts are that with Teklo is that you want to play these Evos from your banish, or you want to get your value out of your hero ability by playing Evos from banish, but you don't have a way to get your Evos in banish in the first place unless you're playing a boost version, which just isn't quite as good for some of the strategy. And so this is effectively like giving you a card and removing one of these Evos from your hand. This might, we'll see. They said they're going to give Teklo a lot of support in the next set, which I think will be a what's the big mech suit called? Singularity. A non-singularity build. I think they're going to do something similar like they did with Max, where they're going to give him an adjacent build to go for instead of the main build of Singularity. And I think what's going to end up happening is that Teklo is going to start running these 0 cost instant, or even action, honestly. They'll just start running the 0 cost Evos, and they're going to be like a boost deck. And they might get something out of, they might get a new card that is synergistic with this game plan. And this will just basically be like, hey, banish this Evo to Ponder, and you basically get a free card out of it, because now this banished Evo is playable. So you effectively draw a card every time you do it. That's my prediction. We'll see how that rings true, but it's a really, really, really good helmet for Teklo.
I am scared for Teklo to be good.
Yeah, I am too. There's some really cool elemental cards, but they're all pretty much the same. There's the earth and lightning sheaths. There's the Colors of Arya and elemental strike cards. They're interesting. Not too much to talk about, if you ask me. I don't think we have enough information on whether or not they're good yet.
I am interested to see if Unyielding Grip is any good in Sage. So really, it's just a generic arms that says if you have no cards in hand, this blocks for +3.
Let me pull this up. Unyielding. Yeah, this one was really interesting to see. It's a rare, so for Silver Age. It has Blade Break. Normally blocks for 0, but if you have no cards in your hand, it gets +3. So it's just 3 block arms if you have no cards in your hand. I'm trying to think of ways that you can trigger this without actually having 0 cards for the next turn. One is Return Fire. This isn't for Silver Age, but this is just in general. Return Fire in Ranger is the 4 block card that banishes an arrow, and you get to play it next turn, or you get to put in your arsenal or something like that next turn. So you can like block out. This would not be bad for Riptide, where you block out, you Return Fire, you Unyielding Grip, and then next turn you throw a 0 cost arrow. And so I was trying to think of other ways you can do things like that.
Well, I know with like the Guardians, like obviously Guardian Brain. You could do the like aura plan, like the instant auras that came out in the last set, and then like I'm going to play all my instant auras and still block 3, or like I'm gonna play an instant aura, block 6 on this attack.
Yeah,
like you can do some weird plays like that.
You know who this is like, really good for? Tough Nut.
Yeah,
this is disgusting in Tough Nut. Absolutely disgusting.
Really, in Tough Nut. It feels like this is really good for the heroes that came out in the last set, because they have a lot of really weird ways. Well, maybe not RKO, but like Pallades. I feel like this is going to be amazing in Pallades, because she's just going to be like, I play out all my auras and still block 3, or I block 6 on your attack, block 3 on this attack because I play my auras.
You know what's funny is like maybe even Kano like in Silver Age likes this.
No, please
Just get
no.
3 block arms.
It's something where you like put it on the combo turn. So it's like I combo off. I lose my entire hand. I'm blocking 3 at the very end because I comboed out. If you live, I don't die.
Right, like it could be an attack that would normally be lethal, but you get to combo off and put this in front of it, so it's no longer lethal, and they have to pitch their hand to stop dying.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually probably good for Kano too. I'm not gonna try to like spend too much time cooking what else is good for, but
I just thought it was
pretty
a
strong
weird.
arms. Yeah,
I thought it was a weird but cool kind of generic arms.
I agree. I agree. And then we got, I think you said you talked about this last week, but the Black Friday pack, we finally know what that is, and it's a lot of the auras in extended art cold foil, which is pretty cool. I would definitely want to get some of these packs.
Let's go.
What was that?
Pleiades bling. Let's go.
Pleiades bling. I do eventually want to play Pleiades, so I really want a lot of these cold foils. And they're extended art cold foils, which is sick. That is insane, by the way, that they're not only extended arts, but they're cold foil extended arts. I'm gonna want to play a set of all these. I don't know how you get them. Is it just like every purchase you get a pack, or how does that work?
I don't know exactly how you get all of them. It's like some sort of purchase with Black Friday stuff. You get all the like you get is it like my worry is you get like extended art cold foil.
It just says available from November 28th as a gift with purchase. Key info. Eligible stores will receive 24 promo boosters. Oh, each store only gets 24.
Oh, they're booster packs.
Yeah, there are 2 random cards in a pack. Eligible stores, yada yada.
I've been pulling 2 dramatic pauses.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Well, no, that one's well. I don't know. I think they're all pretty cool, but I'm like looking through it. I'm like, that's the only one that I would be a little iffy on, but like the rest are sick.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so there are some details here. Each player who makes a Flesh and Blood purchase of $50 USD or local currency equivalent should receive 1 Black Friday promo booster while stocks last. We recommend applying a limit of 1 Black Friday promo booster per customer per day. Huh. So you spend $50, you get 1 pack, and it's recommended as 1 per customer per day, but I guess it's up to the store's discretion on that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's something like, oh, we only have like 3 people that actually care about Flesh and Blood. We got 30 packs. Like,
right? Yeah. If there's stores that like
100, 150, like go give them 3 packs. But
yeah. Also, it might
sure
be just that day that it's really intended to be for. Like maybe like you're not supposed to be able to get these packs the following day. Although I guess like it doesn't say you can only do it that day in the instructions. So if they have extra packs, they can just have them for later. That is kind of sad. I wanted to like, get a ton of them. I thought they were gonna have like every story's gonna have like 100 or so of these, and I could just like get a handful of them.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing Pleiades is bad, so hopefully these are cheap.
Right, that's my thought. It's like, okay, everyone's gonna get these promos. They're just gonna put them online. I'm gonna wait a week or 2 and then pick them all up.
Yeah, and then exactly.
Yeah.
But you don't play Guardian, so you don't have to worry about it either. Me over here is like,
well, I want to play Pleiades. Pleiades isn't a Guardian.
Neither is there's too many heroes in the game now.
There's too many heroes.
Oh no, what's his name? Lyeth. Neither is Lyeth.
Lyeth isn't a Guardian either. Which, by the way, actually I wanted to look that up. I wanted to see, does Lyeth have any LL points yet?
I think maybe 1.
Let's see. No, he does not. So I thought it'd be kind of fun as a challenge. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but it'd be fun to try to win an RTN on Lyeth and get him his first LL points. Because I don't think the deck is necessarily that bad. I'm surprised it has 0 LL points, actually. It's way better than Tough Nut.
All the LL points before I get any other LL points. And that's just as much of a challenge, I want to say. I think so. I think
the deck's just not bad.
But
I honestly just don't think Lyeth is all that bad. I think you have some really bad matchups in the current meta, but I don't think it's that bad. But anyway,
looking at the bottom like 10 heroes, 4 of them are Guardians.
Yeah.
Oh, also Pleiades only one event.
Yeah, Pleiades
one LL event.
All right, and then LOL is no longer in the competitive format section. I think it happened a couple weeks ago. It's now in special formats.
I think
Everybody
most
except for Nora is
people are-
excited about that.
I was gonna say, I think most people are very, very happy about that. I think
Yeah. Sorry,
there
Nora.
are, yeah.
um,
I feel bad for the people that care,
yeah. It is a
but I
fun
think there's,
format, but I don't
yeah,
think it should be a competitive format. I think it should just
I concur.
stick to be the fun format. And I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna be excited when it comes back because I'm definitely gonna be playing LLDO when it does, unless there's significant changes, obviously. Speaking of formats that are dying, skirmish season is going to be the last Blitz competitive format as far as we're aware. It
Mhm.
it will be, it's all Blitz, and it's effectively a Blitz send off, and that happens I think starting next week or something. For Silver Age, I guess I might be mistaken about this, but I thought it was recently that the new Starvo something fluttering showman or whatever. Some people have been calling it Farvo. Is legal now. It has its own Silver Age deck, and so you can play that. And it's apparently just tearing up the Silver Age format on Talishar right now. And that's the last of my bliss of information. Anything else you want to talk about before we go into an off-topic section?
Sorry, I'm
You're good.
jumping around because we're talking about things, and my brain's like, let me check that out and look it up as well. My brain went and like, of course, we're bringing up LL, and my brain's like, but I have to look at all the Guardians and where they sit on that. And I deep dived in.
Well, yeah. Actually,
Far,
speaking of skirmish season, do you plan on playing any Blitz?
Oh, if I can. The thing is, I don't know
Yeah.
if I can go to any events, but if I can, I'm gonna go as Valda. Obviously, I think
Obviously,
she's
the higher
way
health
better in
Valda
Blitz. It's one. You have the health that you should have. Like I should have 40
that you should have.
but yeah. And then two, like dominates really strong at 20 life, and when I can throw my spec for 10 dominate for free because like I did all my stuff, it's very strong, and it feels very good. And also it's like Terra is like a strong deck, but like
Yeah.
I have dominate. So like, okay, you can't block with your entire hand. Sure, you block with that Crown of Seeds and maybe a defense reaction, but I still leak a little life. It depends on the build. Like if the Terra is like straight fatigue with all defense reactions, it's pretty rough. But if it's like a more mid-range Terra, it's pretty good. And it's like, I don't know. I think Valda's very good. But again, I'm very Valda pilled.
Yeah, I don't know what the Blitz meta looks like at all.
Oh, I have no idea either. I
Yeah.
just know the last time I played Blitz, I got in top 4 of an event with Valda.
That's pretty sick.
So that felt pretty good.
The pricing is pretty good.
Yeah, the pricing is also really good.
Yeah, for this skirmish season. It's skirmish season 13, by the way. The pricing is there's top 4 gets a rainbow foil Herald of Secum, which is the newest Herald for Prism.
That one's like the least important, not good.
Top 2. So I didn't realize this until recently. Top 2 is either Everbloom Life or Consigned to Cosmos Shock. Everbloom Life cold foil. By the way, these are cold foils. Insane. That's gonna be so much value. I thought that it was gonna be like one of each of these, but no, it's like I guess the store gets a random pack of 2 of these. So I guess you're just hoping that the store gets Everbloom Life instead of Consigned to Cosmos Shock. And then first place gets a Marvel Bravo Flattering Showman, which now that we know he's one of the best decks in Silver Age, is actually a really good prize for first place. And there's a spot prize, which means a random distributed Bravo Flattering Showman. And then there's a random Super Slam Hero playmat, which is handed out, which they're all pretty cool looking. Well, actually, I already have a Liath playmat because that was the World's playmat, but the Tough Nut one is really cool. I really want the Tough Nut playmat.
I honestly haven't seen a lot of the playmats. Is this
they're
up
cool
in
looking.
the spoiler channel?
It's in the Armory event schedule channel. And then participation gem booster, hard to go wrong there. I think I can make one of these. I think I can go to level 7s on Monday, the 1st. But I don't know if I can make it to any of the other ones. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of upcoming events, we got during the keynote the schedule for next year, and I thought that we were going to get a lot more of a break than we do. But RTN season's in January, and then PQ season is like 2 weeks after in February. And this is really cool, by the way. I really like that they're doing it this way, because just for some background, the last PQ season was it was between LL and CC, and it was random with like which stores had it. There were not very many LL PQs, but Denver actually had a good amount of them, and so
I think we had like almost half of them. Like
basically,
maybe, like that's a little exaggeration.
yeah, we had like four or something.
Like four, and there's like some weeks there were a total of 4 LOPQs.
It was rough because we had one weekend where there was an LLPQ on a Saturday and then a CCPQ on a Sunday, and I went to both, and I had trouble figuring out what I wanted to prepare for more. If I wanted to prepare for LL or if I wanted to prepare for CC. And so they fixed that with this upcoming PQ season, where it is either Silver Age or CC, but the first 2 weeks are only Silver Age events, and then the following, I think, 3 weeks are only CC events. So you won't have this problem of having to prepare for two formats at the same time. It'll be, if it's within the first 2 weeks, it's always Silver Age. If it's within the last 3 weeks, it's always CC, which I thought was a nice quality of life change.
I do like that a lot. I actually am like really excited, and I also think it's like forcing stores to give them the information they want, because I think the LL, they wanted more information. No one wanted to play LL, so they got no information.
What's interesting though is that I feel like that Silver Age is going to be the preferred format for these PQs.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype around Silver Age. I am so excited to play some Silver Age.
I'm excited for it. I'm slightly concerned that there could be some problems with the format because it's a 20 life format, but I think overall I'm going to be pretty happy with how it pans out.
From what I hear, the worst of Silver Age is like dominate with big attacks. So the young Bravo and Azalea, like those are like, from what I hear, the two bigger problems.
Yeah, Azalea's pretty strong. I've heard some pretty dominant decks, but I think there's also a good handful of decks available as well.
Yeah,
which helps. But anyway, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we get into the off-topic section? I forget what we're calling it. I think we had a name.
We need to have like a big graphic that pops up. And
like music that plays. We don't even have intro or outro music, but we need to get some transition music for this section.
Yeah, go from my like barely edited podcast to like all of a sudden we have this one big old section that's like boom, pop off, name, music, transition.
Right.
No intro, no outro, but like big middle section.
Yeah. If you don't have anything else, we can go to the off-topic section. For those that are unaware, this is the section where we talk about anything besides Flesh and Blood, just so we can talk about whatever we want. And you feel free to listen or not listen. But before you go, if you don't mind liking and subscribing to this video to help us out a ton, we'd really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm gonna start off by saying today is actually my birthday. It is unfortunately my 30th birthday. So it's a big one, and I have some really fun plans actually with you later today, with a lot of people on, which is gonna be a little spooky, to play Blood on the Clock Tower in person at my house. Some background on that. I talked about the Blood on the Clock Tower game earlier this episode, but I dove into it head first, and I planned this event for my birthday like over a month ago, before I had even played the game yet. I just looked it up and I saw it was really cool, and I planned this event before even playing the game, and I was like, okay, it supports up to 20 players, so I'm gonna invite 20 people. Turns out you don't really want to do that. When I played at Worlds, it was Pat Eschke, if you recognize his name, well-known Flesh and Blood player. He's the one that was organizing it, and he's organized a lot of Blood on the Clock Tower games, and we had 15 players at one point, and he was like, oh, I really don't like playing 15 players. I really like to play with 12 at most. And he was like hoping to get more players so we could split it into 2 groups, but we didn't. So we played with 15. And I was like, surely this is fine. Like 15 versus 12, like what's the big difference? No, it's a pretty big difference. There's a lot more that has to happen with each player you add. And so once you get past the 12 mark, it gets to be, basically, for some background, at night, everyone has to keep their eyes closed as people's powers activate secretly. And so the storyteller walks around, taps people on the shoulder, and then wakes them up to their ability and give them information and stuff. And that process takes so long with every extra person you add. um, Thankfully, I'm playing the very beginner version of the game, so it should still be fine. But we'll see. I have 17 people for it. I only had
That's
actually
gonna be a big game.
you can actually see on my whiteboard. Those are all the names. You see 2 X's. Those are the only 2 people that could not make it. So I expected more people to not be able to make it, but we only have 2 people that couldn't. So we have 17 people, which is fine. It's gonna be great. It's gonna work out, but it might be a little hectic is all. And we're gonna have a little bit of trouble fitting 17 people in my living room.
That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. We'll see how that goes. I'll probably talk about it on next week's episode. But anything you want to talk about for the off-topic section?
Well, I'm really excited to go and like play and like
It's a lot
again,
of fun.
happy birthday. I know I told
Thank
you
you.
like before we started streaming, but I'm excited. It should be a lot of fun. I really enjoyed when we did that like little test session with like test session
Yeah.
with like the 5 people. That was a lot of fun. I'm really hoping I'm evil this time. Like I was good every time, and I want to see what it's like being evil.
Yeah, there's
We'll
with
see.
17 people, there will be 4 evil characters. And then 2 people will actually not be on either side. They're actually going to be not evil or good, which will be interesting.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
should be interesting.
Anything above 15, you actually don't have any more. You don't have any more strictly good or evil people.
How do you win if you're neutral?
I have to remember. I have to look back at the rules. Actually, I don't remember. I think there's a way. Like I think you might be like secretly aligned or something.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what it was, but there's a way. It's funny though because like the once you get above 15, it's intended for those to be people that either have to leave early or join late. That they have like abilities that like they get to like influence the game, but they don't necessarily have an impact on, or they have an impact. They don't have quite as much power.
Being there till the end doesn't matter as much.
Exactly, or they can join late, because everybody knows what their role is. They don't have a secret role. Everybody gets to know, hey, they are this role.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I have to review the rules on that because we're gonna have more than 15 players now. I found out last night, by the way, that 2 of the people that were iffy are coming.
Wow.
They're like, oh, we don't know if we can make it or not. And then last night they're like, oh yeah, we can make it. I was like, oh shit.
Well, that's more than I expected. But
Yeah.
that should be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I might just say that since they were the last people to RSVP that they have to be those players, which I think is what I'll do. But I hadn't decided yet. But yeah, excited for that. Oh, I also you might have noticed I got a new poster on the wall. I need to put I didn't put anything on this wall before because it's usually covered by the door, but I'm now realizing for like the camera, it'd be nice to have something up there. But I do have some stuff above the whiteboard. And what's interesting is that
So cool.
these were actually gifts from my birthday last year that I just haven't put up until I think a week ago. But yeah, so it's like a space themed wall, if you can tell, because this is from Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and then the Carina Nebula, and this is the Observable Universe, and this is just like a really cool art piece. And so I need to get some more wall art to put on now this side so that it's not like blank over here. And I can put something like lower here as well, like in this area. But
yeah, you can I have some wall art, kind of.
I do have Flesh and Blood posters that I could put up there actually. That could be like a Flesh and Blood section over there. Now that I think about it, that'd be kind of cool.
Put up like a Dio or like a Draw My poster.
I thought I got a poster recently at the Colorado 1K, but I don't know where I put it.
Oh yeah, I think they were handing out like posters.
Yeah, they were doing something. I think I might have put it in my closet. I'll have to figure out where I put that. But yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Oh, and then my my collection sorting is finally making some progress now that I have some more time again. All of the sets up through Hunted. Up through, was it High Seas first or Hunted? It was Hunted first.
Hunted was first.
All the sets through Hunted are now in binders. So that's good. So now I have all this bulk that I got from Dan that I'm now doing, but so that's been good. But
You're doing a lot better than me. I haven't sorted in quite a while.
yeah, it's a process. It takes so long.
Yeah. Well, and like I was deep in Flesh and Blood at one point when I had a lot of extra disposable income, so I have a lot of extra bulk of some of those early sets.
I have a lot of extra bulks from these that I just need to like donate. Let's post in the Discord page and say, hey, I have bulk. Does anyone want it?
I have thousands of cards. Please take.
I might hit you up for some Super Slam bulk if you have extra.
I might have some Super Slam bulk.
Yeah,
I like
that's
depending on if I want to get the Black Friday stuff, I might get more Super Slam stuff.
That's true. I was planning on getting Armory decks with that Black Friday stuff because I think that I don't have like I want the Reinhardt Armory deck, and I think there might have been another Armory deck that I wanted to get. When does the Arachne the Slippy Armory deck come out? Now that I think about it.
Question.
Armory deck. Armory deck Arachne comes out December 12th, so it won't be out yet. But I can get the Reinhardt deck, which will be nice. And then I thought there was another Armory deck that I don't have yet that I haven't picked up. If they have any Aurora decks, which I kind of doubt, I'll pick one of those up because we're gonna get the new Aurora in the middle of next year. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe just like Reinhardt Armory deck in 2 packs.
Part of me wants to just go gamble hard on Guardian Mastery Pack. Like, yeah. I'm either gonna throw away $100 or however much I do to get whatever, or I hit it big and I get a Marvel and I made $20 out of made $20. I got a $20 card.
yeah. It's always funny when like, oh, I made money in this pack, but I'm never gonna sell this card, so I didn't actually make any money.
Well, the thing is, like, I have to spend money, and I really want the Guardian Mastery Pack bling. Like, a Marvel Jarl would be really cool. A Marvel Shield would be really cool. A Marvel of a lot of things would be really cool, but they're so insanely rare that I'm like, like, I want to get this stuff. I want to invest in the product, but it's like, oh, do I want to like invest it? I'm like, I could just go Super Slam and get a bunch of Majestics and like have something worth of value if I don't hit.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We'll see how much we'll see how the stores do it, because if they allow for multiple packs, I might just spend more money. We'll see. I want those promos.
Yeah, that's so cool. I want the Cold Foils extended art. I'm surprised there's so many different arts because it makes them like really hard to collect, it feels like. Yeah, like I thought it would have been like 3 cards. Yeah, it's like I thought it would have been like 3 cards that were like Cold Foil extended art, and then you would be like, oh, that's sick. But I also found it funny that the event heroes in there.
Yeah, well, they must be going through all of them because well, can you play that in Sage?
No, it's an event only hero, so you can only play it in like multiplayer things. So you could play it in, I think,
because Revive or Flattering Showman is not an event only hero, but that's I guess it's because they printed the welcome deck for it.
Well, he also doesn't say pit fight hero. He just says hero. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Or he just says young hero. He has the normal text, but a lot of the other heroes from that box all say pit fight hero, which means or event hero or something like that.
Yeah, so they say pit fight.
They can only be ran
pit fighters.
Yeah, pit fight hero. Yeah. So they can only be played in pit fight.
Interesting. Okay. I still want to play that set at some point. Maybe I'll get one of those. For Black Friday.
If you want, we could. So here's the good excuse: we can get together. We can play that set. I'll buy the Guardian Mastery Pack. We open the packs.
That's a good point. Is I just need to get a couple Mastery Packs because you already have the set, and then we already have the event cards. Yeah.
No, don't worry. I'll buy all the Guardian Mastery Packs. We just play together.
And then you'll keep the cards. Yeah.
And then I keep the cards.
But what if I want to pull a Marvel Jarl and then sell it to you for $1 billion?
My wallet will cry.
All right, but anything else before we sign off for the viewers and listeners?
No, I think I'm good for now.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Until next time, I'm Cody.
And I'm Jacob.
Thanks for watching and listening.